Very good afternoon to all. I'll be starting this session with talking about the basic technique of glued IOL, how to go about it. I'll be going a little slow in the initial surgical steps, and I'll also be sharing what our experience has been over the last decade using this procedure. So as Dr. Gupta was talking about in his initial slides, IOL implantation in the absence of posterior capsular support, the options that we had have been anterior chamber IOL conventionally. We have options of iris fixated IOL, and we have been doing scleral fixated IOL with the help of sutures. And now with another option that we are using now is the glued IOL technique. Now I'm comparing. Dr. Gupta talked about ACIOL and its disadvantages there. I'll talk about how we moved in from sutured scleral fixated to glued IOL. The limitations of sutured scleral fixated IOL basically has been the amount of surgical expertise required there. The glued IOL is a lot much easier to perform. The surgical time taken with sutured IOL is longer. The suture always stays as a foreign body and can induce inflammation. It's Prolene sutures which are used most often. Sutures degrade over time. These Prolene sutures do not cause any kind of fibrosis around them which can hold the haptic later. If the suture degrades, the IOL drops in. So delayed IOL subluxations and dislocations have been noted because of broken sutures. So that's how our thinking was when we shifted to glued IOL. So there are three basic components of a glued IOL surgery. You need most often a three-piece foldable intraocular lens. The basic surgical technique involving haptic externalization. Throughout this session, you'll be seeing the different approaches to do that and what we use as fibrin glue to seal the tunnels. So this is the basic IOL which you can use. You can use there's no financial disclosures here. So you can use either a J-loop haptic Alcon MA60 lens or a C-loop Technis or a sensor. These are all hydrophobic acrylic lenses which we use. We commonly use the Alcon MA61 with blue PMMA haptics. So the J-loop of the Alcon lens gives us a little more advantage. Some people do prefer the C-loop of the Technis lens also. The fibrin glue basically consists of two components, the fibrinogen and the thrombin component. There's an applicator with two mixing chambers, and once the two components get together, it forms a nice fibrin sheet over the area you want to seal. Now coming on to the technique of glued IOL. So the basic surgery involves initial steps as putting in two scleral flaps about 3 millimeters, 3 millimeter by 3 millimeter at 180-degree vertically opposite. So this is the basic surgical first step of surgery, wherein you make these flaps, put in your infusion. If you want to manage any anterior segment issues, like in this case, there was the lens which had to be removed, a superior scleral tunnel is made. Initially, it is recommended to make a large tunnel. Later on, you can shift to the injectors. You grasp the tip of the haptic with the help of a glued IOL forceps. It's important to grasp the tip under this flap. You do it from one side, you get it out from the other side. Subsequently, you make your grooves in the wall so as to tuck these haptics under these flaps. You can put these haptics in these grooves. And herein the haptic goes into the groove. I'll talk about the advantage of doing this step later. And then subsequently, you dry this area, switch off the infusion, dry it, put in fibrin glue. So here is the two different, the fibrinogen and the thrombin particles are being put. And then you seal the flap, you press it hard till the fibrin sheet is formed in that area. It holds the haptic in its place nicely and seals the entry wound also. Now this entry wound under the flap can be made either with a 22 gauge needle, or even nowadays I'm using 23 gauge or a 25 gauge trocar cannula system. Also, you can make these openings under the flap with this. Now the advantage of putting these haptics in this groove is that once you put them in the groove, it does not, it prevents the forward and the backward movement of this haptic, so that phacodonesis post-surgery is much less. So this movement of the haptic is kind of stopped and the haptic stays in one place. So as I was talking about phacodonesis, in cases wherein the the sutured SFIL was done, the IOL actually hangs like a hammock from the two sutures. The sutures are in the sclera and the IOL is hanging like a hammock. So with every eye movement, the IOL tends to move. So there's a lot of phacodonesis in sutured IOL. While in haptic externalization SFIL technique or the glued IOL technique, once the haptic is out into the tunnel, it has a better centration, there is lesser tilt, and the IOL is more stable. So as we said, so there are no suture-related complications, there is less surgical time involved. Uh, at often, if the patient has had issues with his previous three-piece IOLs, they can itself be refixated. You don't need any special scleral fixated IOLs with eyelid that was required for sutured IOLs. And the indications is huge in which in which this procedure can be done, starting from traumatic cases to intraoperative complications of cataract surgery to subluxated natural lenses in cases of Marfan's or homocystinuria, etc. Now, there are certain modifications to the standard procedure. I'm not talking about technique of externalization, it's brief modifications here. You can use an injector system also to inject. Again, the trick here is first hold the haptics, leading haptics only the tip, inject the IOL, let it unfold completely into the anterior chamber and leave the trailing haptic outside the tunnel. Take the first haptic out, hold it with the handshake technique, again grasp the tip of the haptic, the lagging haptic, take it out under the flap, and you have both the haptics externalized now, and then you can tuck them into the groove as we talked about in the standard approach. You can fixate a dropped IOL itself. So in this case, there was a dropped IOL there. I'm using a chandelier light to illuminate the eye, pick up the IOL with one hand, use the other side to grasp the haptic with a blue dial forceps. You see, there's a slight bend in the haptic because probably I was not exactly at the tip. Luckily, I was able to straighten it and then put it into the groove, and you can fixate the same IOL and remove the chandelier light later. So the complications, we have seen quite a few of them more during our initial early stages. As you become more experienced, the number of complications keep going down. Coming to our experience, over the last decade, we have done more than 1,000 eyes, and this is a data of almost 1,000 eyes with follow-ups from 6 months to as large as 6 years. The most common indication has been surgical induced aphakia, other have been subluxated lenses and subluxated malposition IOLs. And we have had good success with our visual acuities also. More than 78% eyes had a visual acuity better than 20/40. These are the causes in patients in which there were other causes which eventually led to a poorer vision, such as hemorrhage or a corneal scar, or patients with a post-keratoplasty. Obviously, the results were not as gratifying in terms of visual acuity, though IOL centrations were good. So just to share a few of our cases, this is a Marfan's patient who underwent glued IOL, both the eyes. This is an anteriorly displaced PC IOL, and this is the same patient post-surgery. Another patient, so I'm just sharing few of our stories wherein post-trauma case wherein an SFIL was done. And coming to the complications, the issues that we had, the common ones were vitreous hemorrhage from the sclerotomy site. It can happen initially at the start of surgery. We have had to postpone a few cases because of that. The hemorrhage was in quite a bit, but you can see the numbers are very few. Haptic bend and break on externalization. Initial surgeries, quite a few happen, but once you get a hang of the surgery, the importance of grasping the tip, this becomes quite less often then. We have had exposed haptic in 12 eyes, an IOL dislocation in 6 eyes. These were generally eyes in which, but in my experience, I have seen the larger eyeballs, higher myopes, thinner sclera, where the IOL does not get the sclera is not able to hold the IOL very nicely, or you have not chosen the right meridian to put in the IOL. It's advisable to first check which axis of the cornea has the shortest chord length, so that you can use in such eyes so that you have enough haptic getting externalized. So you can either do a vertical fixation or at an angle fixation also. Amongst complications, we had scleral melt in about 2 cases. This is one of the patient wherein, and the most common feature which I feel in these cases where you have a melt is when the conjunctiva retracts and this flap area doesn't get nicely vascularized. This causes the haptic to get exposed, and this patient required a patch graft. So in conclusion, fibrin glue fixation or the glued IOL is a safe and effective technique in comparison to suture fixation of PCIOLs. Uh, it can be employed in a lot of complicated cases also, as my future speakers would be talking about. The surgical time is significantly less. The patient comfort is a lot more. We have seen about now, we have been doing it for a decade, a long-term stability, I would say. And you don't need any specially designed IOLs. And it can be done in multifocals and aniridia IOLs also. So thank you.
Thank you. Such is the success of the glued IOL or scleral fixated IOL that in our center we have stopped doing any AC IOLs and we have totally shifted to scleral fixated IOL. Any new person who joins our center doesn't know, learns the technique, and he also has a lot of appreciation about the technique. And he says only few tricks. One thing what I like to add to the beautiful presentation of Dr. Hitesh is that good vitrectomy is a must to the key of success. Once initial 30 cases, I was not doing a total vitrectomy, pars plana vitrectomy. But once I started doing a total vitrectomy,